Is it okay to be proud of your culture? Is a white man and a Maori man able to talk about the racial divide?
A 42-year-old can get in front of a camera, right? For 21-year-olds like watching this thinking that 42-year-olds got it all sorted out.
If you have a purpose and you take the chance to pursue that purpose,
he's got all the connections, he's got all the money, he's got all the... it's bullshit. I don't have anything. We could create a bigger thing, sports that we love, all about news that's coming up.
Is it okay to be shamed by the people in your life?
Anyone that hates a certain group of people, that's just got to come from like upbringing. Love to have those types of conversations, particularly about sports that I love.
Well, I think every human's born to segregate themselves into groups. It just might be race, it might be height, it might be, popularity, good looks. What about the good look disparity, eh? How good looking people do better in life?
And once I started getting into, learning more about the culture, all of these things just started kind of showing themselves. Just go and do it. Like, the world needs, I reckon, a lot more of this.
How do you navigate the challenges that come with looking yourself in the mirror and being afraid of what's possible if you actually applied your dreams? This is an interesting one. So, wonder what you think. Oh, yeah, we're started? Yeah, we're started. Let's say.
Impostor syndrome, for those that don't know, is like, and I had to get someone else to explain this to me. It was just like, it's the feeling of you not being the person or something, or being, you not feeling worthy that you are the person that you are. So, for instance, when I was doing like this Warriors Fan TV thing, it was just like, I kind of felt a little bit of that, because I was like, I'd never been on a camera with someone following me around. I never had a microphone in my hand. Never really done this thing, sports things, and all of a sudden, boom, here we are.
Yeah, well, you're good at it. You talk. So I was editing it, and I was looking at it, and you're like, you're giving some good shit. Like you're fucking with them, and they're laughing, and then like they're just strangers, and you're turning it into like cool moments and stuff. Like, what was it like when you first started? Were your mic shaking, or you just like repressed everything and just looked deadpan? Or
so, when I look at those very first interviews, I can feel the nervousness. It takes me back to how nervous I was, like the heart racing, the kind of palpitations. But when you watch them, when I watch them with like fresh eyes of someone that wasn't doing it,
didn't know.
It looks fine. Like I look fine. Everyone tells me, nah. One guy told me it looked very natural, and like you had been doing this a long time. And I was just like, wow, I'm a good liar. I can fake the confidence quite well. But no, look, it was it was pretty nerve-wracking. Yeah,
well, I have a theory on anxiety.
Cool.
And the nerve-wracking thing, because people scare me, so I did it for a living. I was like, fuck it. And I find I'm most anxious when there's the greater the distance between how I feel and how I'm acting. So if I'm putting on a mask and that mask is powerful, the anxiety's stronger. So did you find like you're shitting yourself because you had a front in some sense because you couldn't actually feel the emotion? Like if you were sitting there shaking, hey guys.
I think for me, I wanted to produce something really high quality. So it started, that whole project started about 5 years ago. And I was like, there's this thing called sports fan-generated media, right? And it's been pretty big for the last 5-10 years now. Like, just some kid in his room opens up his or her laptop, and talks about his or her favorite team and why he or she loves or hates, the game that happened on. And like, I love that kind of stuff. I'm a big sports fan, so I love alternative opinions other than and big ups to everyone who's in a broadcasting room, and big ups to everyone who's gone to journalist school, but I want the raw shit. I want the fan and fans watch every game, inch by inch, second by second, every single game. A lot of these fans do anyway, and they've got these insights into their sports team, into why things happened. So I've been into that type of media for a long time. So I follow certain people online who make that type of media, and I was like, man, no one's really doing that here in New Zealand. There are a couple of podcast people doing stuff like this, but no one. I didn't see anyone going to games and bringing the viewer into the game day experience. There are some TV shows that do it, kind of sporadically. They go around with a microphone, a guy goes around, he's a bit funny. But I was like, nah, I think fans would love it if it was like someone going week in, week out, doing this for the fans, because, so... the anxiety was like, I wanted to produce something super high quality. I wanted an expensive camera. I wanted my mate who's a videographer to come along. I needed the audio to be, crisp, because the type of media that I watch, it's got all those high quality things in it. Good video and super high quality microphone. So then the only missing piece was me to do my job.
Talent. Right? The pressure. Yeah,
that's the missing piece, and that's what was... And it almost didn't happen. Because I said to my friend, look, this is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to ask you can say no, but I kind of need someone to come around with me to film me as I'm doing this after round 4, which when we played the doggies. And he was like, oh, that sounds amazing. Yeah, I'd love to do it. And I was like, hey, sure. And he's like, yeah, cool. I'm there. I'm done. I'm cool. So I said to him, meet me outside the gates around about 5 o'clock or whatever. I didn't hear from him at 4:30, and I'm at the game, and I'm like, oh, maybe he's not going to show, I'm just like kind of setting myself up if he doesn't show, catch a pie, it's all good.
Yeah, I don't care. I never cared anyways.
Yeah. And then he texts me, he's like, I'm just parking up, and that's when that's when the emotion started, like, this is real, this is happening. I had some questions written down on like a piece of paper, and I kind of completely forgot about all those questions. And he rolls in, and he's got this big-ass camera.
Yeah.
And he's got this microphone. He's teaching me how to use it, and I'm just like, like the nerves in the legs. Even just talking about it now, I can like my body's going back to that moment.
Yeah,
nerves in the legs, a bit of like tingling going on. And we're standing outside Gate A, and I remember this. We're standing outside Gate A, and there's a big raft of fans coming out. We just won, and no one stops. No one stops.
Yeah.
No one wanted to stop. Like, who the hell are you? And I was like, hey guys, you wanna? Hey, you...
Yeah, I can hear the tonality that you've been putting on as well, yeah.
And I was like, ooh, and I turned to my mate, and he's like, we don't know yet. I don't know what's going to happen. The funny thing, later on, he said to me, probably like a week later after we talked about it, he was just like, to be honest, I thought no one was going to stop. But what we realize now is the people that are coming out of the stadium want to get to their cars. They want to leave. They're like... got other things going on, they're just gonna, it's the second and third waves of fans that come out. So usually all the mums and all the families, all the kids and everything. Because if you don't know Penrose, there's no train system. I think there's a bus. I've got no idea. But anyway, everyone drives to the games, park up in this massive ass car park. And some people even leave for like 15 minutes before.
Yeah.
Right, and because it's just gridlocked around there.
Yeah, so they're rushing to be the first.
Right. But
and you think they don't like you. Like, oh.
Well, they didn't, because they were just like...
They weren't stopping.
But it was that second wave and that third wave. And then...
what was your first stop, and what did you do? Because I know what it's like to stop people in the street and sell them shit, but interviewing them, I can feel it. I can understand what would happen.
I had a whole bunch of things. Hey, guys, and I think I just kind of went back to my kind of... sales experience. Just get to the fucking point. What are you stopping these people for?
Yeah.
So it was just thoughts on the game. That was it. Guys, thoughts on the game. Can I get your thoughts on the game? Warriors Fan TV. That's like the first time I'd ever like uttered those words to anybody else, right? Sounds legit.
Sounds real legit with the camera too.
Sounds real legit. And you can see it in their faces. They're looking at me, looking at the camera, looking at my camera mate, and like there's a microphone in front of them, and then they just spoke. And that was the start of it.
Wow, because I don't know about the logistics component, but like I used to train people to stop people in the street and sell them like charity stuff essentially. But like especially when you're nervous and you got that tonality that inflects on the top and you're questioning and inside you're dying, but then you catch them when they're not quite close enough and you got to catch them early enough. So have you been able to, like, obviously it started as a passion project a little bit. Has there been like an approach from a corporate? Have you made... has it monetized on YouTube, or are you just, what's the game plan? Are you just doing it out of the goodness of your heart? How's it going, bro?
I reckon if I had like $10 every time someone asked me, what is that end goal? What's the game plan? I'd be rich right now.
Yeah.
I'd be absolutely loaded. So
I like to be original.
Warriors Fan TV is bought in $0, right?
Oh, yeah.
So we are 3.5 months old.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's fresh. Well, fuck. I should have made it sound like we've been doing it years, brother. Like the way
it sounds like
I remember.
It sounds like, well, it feels like we've been doing it for years as well. Like, so, a couple of things. Quality needs to be up there. Consistency. There's games on every week. And as fans, like, we've got a lot of needs fans. We want content every day. Like, those are the levels now for, like, fan channels. It's like, and no disrespect to the ones who have come before me, because I've actually reached out to a couple that have had podcasts in the past. And for some reason, they've just stopped. Live, whatever. Right? And they've just stopped. And I don't want Warriors Fan TV to be like that. So, consistently good quality coming out.
Are you sneaking in, or do you have to buy a ticket?
No, I'm buying tickets.
Oh shit! So you're in the red, brother. 3.5 months for tickets. You were gonna go anyways. Do you watch it and then talk about it?
I have to watch the game.
Oh, good.
100%.
Okay, 100%. So you're going to the game anyway. So fuck it.
I've got to go to the games. I'm showing up to all the home games.
Oh yeah.
And when there's away games, I've got actually residency, I suppose. You can use the DJ term. I've got residency out east at a local pub out there.
Oh, residency. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. And Warriors Fan TV go out to Lucky Sports Bar. Shout out Lucky Sports Bar over in Howick.
Yeah, shout out. Check it out. They got a signature dish? We're going to shout them out.
Mate, they've got some good food over there.
Yeah, okay, good.
Go and check them out. But he's got the big screen going on, and I'm down there with my camera. And as soon as the game's finished, I'm there with my camera and my microphone with local fans over here in Howick. So we've got that one over in Howick, and this weekend I'm going back up north to get my kids, and I've organised with a owner of a bar up there as well to do exactly the same thing.
Wow.
And all his hotel rooms are actually booked out for this one event that we're hosting there.
Wow, watch out.
Warriors Fan TV, ki hokianga. So going back to your original kōrero, we've made $0.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely a passion project. It's not my full-time job. It is something I've been thinking about for a long time. Whether we monetize it, who knows? Whether someone comes knocking and offers us to do something with them, who knows?
Let's go knocking, bro. Fuck, waiting for them. So I like to brainstorm and try different things. So let's assume you had no imposter syndrome and you're really happy with the quality and you weren't limited by your fears. What are some creative ways we could monetize it? I got one idea, which would be
Niki mine, man.
Let me hear it. No, my paki. No, I don't have much to it. I'm just trying to pretend.
Neither do I.
Oh, thank you.
And we can get into that as well.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
What's an idea? What's $1 million idea?
Well, there's a thing that it's starting to come on the scene where a lot of people want to get on TikTok, especially these brands. And there's a thing called Spark Ads, which you may or may not know about.
No.
Which is essentially you can give away your creative content with all the social proof and likes and shares and all this sort of things. And they just plug a code in, chuck it in their campaign. So that would be an easy low-hanging fruit, depending on... so you've already hey, I've got this views, got 100,000 views. Would you like to put it in your content, whether it's Warriors or some other person that sells events, or whether it's someone that would want to be associated with the Warriors and they add a little thing in it or something like that. Like Mad Butcher, proud supporters of fucking Warriors. And then you just plug it to them. You would only have to learn a little bit just to explain it, because some of them have the limiting belief that they consume TikTok themselves but don't believe their clients are on there. So you got to navigate that. That would be one idea. What's your idea? So let's brainstorm some ways to make money from the passion.
Oh, look, actually one brand is already sending me up some hats. So, product placement, all that sort of stuff. I think the most common way would be, what I've seen anyway, is more like affiliates. So you've got a brand, you sell, I don't know, something that would appeal to Warriors fans, or some things that kind of align with sports fans or rugby league fans or something like that, right? Here's a code in the description, go through, there's a 10% discount. That's very kind of common. But to be honest, I haven't really brainstormed many money making ideas off Warriors.
I know you
TV.
haven't, and my suspicion is because it required so much courage, and because you have this aspiration to make this beautiful thing, that fear of perfection.
Which is strange, because I'm not a perfectionist. Ask my business partner. I am not the perfectionist guy. He's more of the slow thinker. The slow thinker. The let's take our time. Let's not make a decision. I'm like, boom, let's go. Like, I spoke to you yesterday, you called me, I'm here now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it was actually my idea to come here, not yours.
Yeah. Yeah. You sold me, bro. No. I think there's a concept like the truth hurts. And I find there's something really beautiful about purpose that hurts because it's closer to who you are and you're confronted with your own reality. So that's why I think this is a little different. But if you had no fear, no responsibility, all the money in the world, what would you do?
I'll probably grow. Well, ultimately, when people say, you know, what's the end goal? I would love for Warriors Fan TV actually to be a small thing inside a large thing, right? So I've created a sports media company, right? It's focused just on the Warriors. There's nothing stopping us, and I've already created a bit of a network with other league and sports creators online, and we're already talking about, why don't we just help each other? Why don't we kind of collab in some way? I don't know what that looks like right now. But there's nothing stopping other creators jumping on and learning from me and Warriors Fan TV and us creating another brand that is a little bit more far-reaching than just rugby league.
Well, it makes sense. It's an applicable concept. Like, you could have a system and process for creating genuine, authentic fan reactions, and it can be any sport.
Anything.
Oh, you lighten up a little bit when you talk about it.
Anything. So I'll give you an example, right?
Yeah.
Do you know Shane Van Gisbergen?
No, but yeah, I feel like I'll let you down.
No, he's a racing car driver.
Oh, yeah.
Right. He raced in Australia with the supercar category of racing. Anyway, he was over in America just last week racing in one of their races called it's a NASCAR street race. NASCAR is one of the big Formula One.
Yeah.
I would say this is the most popular. The biggest one, probably second to that, would be NASCAR. Yeah.
Yeah, lock it in for $1 million.
I'm locking it in.
Not going to find
Shout me if you think you disagree.
Yeah, leave a comment.
Please leave a comment if you think you disagree. But I'm locking that one in. Anyway, he went over there as an invitational driver in one of their races on a street circuit. Now, he's all over he's all over New Zealand media because he won the race. So he's never raced these cars before. And he's just gone over there and beaten all of the regular drivers. So this is a season, and this is just one race in the whole season. He's just jumped in there, I don't know how, taken over this car and brought it home in first place. And we're all going crazy over it, right? Because we're all like, yay, Shane, you're the man. And I'm getting a lot of hate online because what I think is this. He's very used to racing on street circuits in rear-wheel drive cars in Australia. He's got 10 plus years experience. These guys over there race oval races, which go round and round in circles, right? Yeah. So I said to people, I was just like, am I the only one that thinks that SVG goes over there, pretty much blasts everybody, and they're more used to going round and round in circles? And I've got a little bit of hate for it, right? But it's that type, and the reason why I bring that up is sports fans talk about these types of things all the time. Yeah. And we could create a bigger thing that's daily about the sports that we love, or about news that's coming up. Otherwise, other sports fans will have to wait until 6 o'clock news, if anyone still watches the news, to see if that little segment's going to make it onto the news. And we could own that sports media in this country. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know you'd have such a controversial opinion coming on talking about racing, and I regret it now. Am I going to be, by association, be polarized and cancelled because you said that he won because of...
I think it opens up discussions. You know? Yeah. I think it opens up cordial that others can say you're wrong because of this, and I'd love to have those types of conversations, particularly about sports that I love, like motorsport.
I mean, there's real value in that. Genuine. You think about the average corporate that get to that point where they're helping these teams. They're sitting in border and speculating on what people want, waiting 6 months to approve one piece of content that flops. Whereas you've already got brands. You've already got an example of proof that it works and that people are engaging with it, that they're not going to lose any sort of brand equity and that sort of thing. It makes sense as long as you can have a machine for creating engaging enough content that people want to watch a lot of it. then why not? And it sounds fun. Do you like the interviewing or just the sports?
Do I like the interviewing or just the sports?
Yeah, like shooting the shit with people on the street.
I love shooting the shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I do. Like, if this setup could be with, in another environment with like 10 of us around just shooting the shit about sports, being recorded, but you having that machine for someone else to be able to like edit everything, that would be good.
You could have live broadcasts so that you're online and say whatever the fuck, and you're not limited by the advertising broadcasting standards. But you might, depending on how you monetize, it's either you sell your audience or you sell to them. Those are really the only two options, I think.
Really? So like merchandise and stuff?
Well, so you either have an offering for the fans yourself, which, whatever that might be. Maybe it's events where people come in and you're a personality and they pay to see you guys shooting the shit, and or even if it's like, you have sponsorship deals with people that pay you for access to the audience that you have.
That's the most common way. So a lot of the podcasters would have, we're sitting here and there's like a bag of like pea protein powder and another freaking box of like cookies, and then like obviously they're product placing in the shot. Then you go in the description, there's like get 10% off the protein powder or get 10% off the thing, right? So that works as well because and I think there's some sort of like advertising share or something like through when you start getting monetized through YouTube as well. So
yeah, people approach me. I mean, I'm just trying to guilt trip the world is my goal. So just
how's that going?
It will going alright apart from my own limiting beliefs. But yeah, like I'll cold call people and they're like, oh, I heard you from TikTok. Oh, you're the guy. I've listened to your podcast. I'm like, fucking what? So it's out there. But like what I mean by guilt tripping the world in the sense that if you give a disproportionate amount of value and never ask for anything, that has a lot more value over the long run, just not the short term.
How many videos are you up to at the moment on your
1,300?
Is it overall?
Yeah.
Or just on one channel?
One channel. Yeah, so times that by 5 because I posted everywhere. Yeah, so it's been useful. And not even that particularly, like I think similar to your experience when you're talking to people on the street is I'm slowly letting my personality out. Like I'm not necessarily like leaning into it. So it's not that like the content's pretty boring, to be honest.
I'll watch some of your stuff.
It's less boring. It's getting better.
But it's good that you can see the progression.
It's good that I can see.
You can see the progression, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like when I look at some of my very first ones, I'm just like, oh my God. But I don't delete them or anything. I keep them up there because I want people to see, okay, so we started in March 26th. And now it's freaking, don't even know the date is, but July 6th or something. So they can see kind of like started off. What's real funny is I started off just doing that one game. And then it just took off. And then I was like, oh shit, I've got to do the next game now. I think for me, when it started becoming quite real, there was this 1 week. Where we played our first away game. And then I didn't do anything. But then I started getting messages from people. They were just like, oh, are you doing anything? You doing anything for the game? And I was just like, shit, no, I'm not. But I think I should.
Yeah.
Thanks for reminding me.
It's good inspiration. I'm just thinking, I didn't tell you that these that goes for 30 minutes and switches off, so I just pushed it again and it'll go for another 30. You're used to the chaos. All right, well, there was something you touched on around the, Tadeo or something to unpack there, or like you're learning it again, or there's shame around your culture, or you're proud of it, or...
The whole thing, man. I think we're living in just, like, in this country, we're living in a very interesting time.
Yeah, go on. Let's unleash some shit. Just own it.
Because you either love it or you hate it, I think.
Oh yeah.
I think
what about naming all the cities today? Thoughts?
Yeah, I mean,
is it today or nah? I feel like I'm saying Maori. Someone told me I've been saying Maori for ages, but apparently there's that fucking line on A, so you go Maori.
Maori, yeah. Look,
mansplained it to you.
Yeah, cool. I mean, the whole So just coming back to the original question, I think we're just living in this really. Well, I love it. I love the time we're living in. So, like, growing up in the 80s, a lot of racism around anything Maori, right? Like, just forget about thinking about Maori names being renamed, right? So we're bringing back the name. We're not actually changing names.
Yeah. No,
so
well
like,
said.
So like all of this and all of those things.
Wait, what if there wasn't a city?
Yep. Kei te pai.
Does that still count?
So it's the rohe, it's the area.
Okay, so the area.
The areas have always been there.
Okay, area was there first. City is just
Yep.
being pedantic about the specific hill.
Or just creating a city called Christchurch, but the area was called Otautahi, for instance.
Oh yeah.
So there's just we could talk for hours on this. I could literally talk hours, and
you can unleash.
And the way that I just explain that, bringing that thing back, bringing back the name as opposed to renaming.
Yeah, no, good
point. That's only because of me being educated in the last 2-3 years around what has happened in the past, right? So I'm able to speak into that stuff. Like, for instance, most of Europe think that a Dutch guy discovered this place. He didn't. He visited, right? Shout out Abel Tasman. But the only thing he discovered here was a whole lot of smoke that he didn't want, because the tangata whenua, right?
So the smoke he didn't want. Yeah.
He realized there was a whole bunch of smoke down here that he just didn't want any of, right? Because if he felt safe down here and saw this land, he would have went back. He would have went back and told the boys, let's go down there and grab this land. But he went back and told the boys, there's a whole lot of smoke down there and you don't want it with these people, right? So he came here, didn't discover it, he visited it.
Yeah.
So it's all this cordial, it's all this kind of stuff that I grew up thinking was one way, and then over the last couple of years, you realize, hang on, all of that stuff, a lot of that stuff's lies, right?
Oh, let's get into it.
It's lies.
Because I'm a white guy, I got no te reo, so this will be good. This will be some quality content.
I didn't have any te reo until the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, why though? What changed?
That's a good question.
You were a trustee to some land you discovered, and you're like, let's learn some more, or?
Couple of reasons.
That was a joke, but yeah, okay.
No.
Didn't land well.
I realized it was a joke. I was like, woof. I realized it was a joke, but a couple of reasons, right? I was sick and tired, and I was just very fed up with not understanding what's going on in my own culture, right? So, I'm sure you've been overseas where English isn't their first language, and you'll be sitting there and there's a whole bunch of people speaking their language, right? So you're not part of the conversation, you're not getting involved, right? So I didn't want to feel like that anymore. So every time I'd be in a situation where there'd be like 2 people speaking te reo Maori, and then I know I could only get past kia ora and then kei te pēhi a koe, which means how are you, and then after that I'm screwed, right? So instead of engaging, actually I'm not going to speak for everyone, what I tend to do is just not engage at all, because I don't want to feel those feelings, that tightness in the chest, those feelings of not being Maori, because I can't speak the language, and that's one of my biggest reasons. I didn't want my kids growing up in the same world I did, which was Māori's not going to get you anywhere. It's a dying language. Māori are useless. Māori are this, Māori are that, and Māori are everything else, right? So the children that are growing up now in this country that are connected to some sort of kaupapa, whether it's kura school, kohangareo, which is preschool, if they're connected with a marae, if they're connected with anything to do with te ao Māori, matariki's coming up, right? They're very fortunate to be, and this goes for like white New Zealanders, Chinese New Zealanders, Indians, right? I think they're all fortunate to be growing up in a place where we're starting to recognize like a lot of our tikanga and a lot of our customs.
Yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful thing about our country. It shouldn't be a shame piece or a polarizing piece. Let's go a little risky area. What are your thoughts on virtue signaling? So these we don't have to call them white people, but that's what I'm thinking. They're going out there and they're like, oh, I care so much about you, you impoverished lesser than me. I'm going to help lift you up and you're not going to do well and you're this and that. But I'm not racist, but I care about you. I'm trying to lift you up. What are your thoughts on those sort of people that think they're trying to uplift, but it's actually contributing to a demeaning mindset?
Don't really have much of an opinion, but when I do see it, I always think to myself, are you doing it for the thing that you, because it happens in the same way in like climate change and greenwashing as well, right? It's just like, are you doing it because you really care, or are you doing it just to make yourself look good? You know what I mean? But I think over the years, people are starting to become more aware of that stuff now. Well, I hope so. And like we can smell the bullshit very quickly when someone's going, hey, look what we're doing. It's like, why are you doing that? What's the motivation behind it?
Yeah. Okay. So what's something you feel strongly about then? If not that, what's your thing? Because obviously there's been a rediscovery of yourself and trying to reconnect with the culture because you were taught that, that you should have shame around it. It's not a waste of time. Why are you doing it? What would be something that you hope to bring into, you're not speaking for Māoridom, but like you're essentially...
No one does.
No one, yeah. Okay, well, that's another point. That's a good... What are your thoughts on assigning a group or a person that's in charge of a said group, even though they're an individual that doesn't speak? Like, I don't know a white person that speaks for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
This went a place, bro. You sure you're regretting this?
I don't think I understand the question, but...
essentially, like...
Yep.
What are your... So, the mistake I see people make is they put people into a little box of group. And I have yet to find consistent characteristics across any group. So they are individuals within a group. And then you have certain, they're assigned as Māori advisor, and now they speak for all Māori. It's like, what sort of insight do they...
Yeah, look, no one speaks for all Māori, no one speaks for all Indians, no one speaks for all Chinese, right? I think that's a misconception where we get placed in underneath this one umbrella, or this one kind of korowai, but we're all in our own. And once you get into kaupapa Māori and understand that we're all in our own marae, in our own areas, in our own thing, and even within those areas, we're just all our own people. So having someone that speaks for all of us, it's just not going to happen. This is not going to happen, bro.
Funnily enough, Carl Jung is one of the pioneers of psychology. He predicted World War II, and this will relate. He predicted it because people were assigned a said group. They were conforming to that group, but they were losing their individuality. So they were actually frustrated and angry and wanted someone to blame because their individual feelings weren't being heard. And then they directed that at the Jewish people in the end, because there was a strong individual that was captivating and giving a reason for all their suffering. And they're like, yes, that's why. And you see it again. Like, I probably wouldn't use a modern example, so it can actually go on YouTube. But it is very dangerous. Like, I can see people's desire to connect as a group, to have a sense of identity, to fit in, but it's actually at the expense of the individual and only contributes to the suffering. But anyways, what were the lies that you discovered? Because you called me out twice then. I was like, yeah, you're right, fair. Because the town isn't being renamed as being
Nah. And I think both names can exist. So I think this whole and I'll come back to your question. So there's all this discussion around, should we make New Zealand Aotearoa? Should we do this, that, and the other? And I think there are a lot of countries around the world that have two names, but it's always the name within the country is what they will refer it to, and then internationally, that's the name that's on the map. So my idea would be, and I don't think we should change it, but it depends what the people want, right? It'd just be like, if you want to call it Aotearoa, call it Aotearoa. If you want to call it New Zealand, just call it New Zealand. I mean, the lies go deep.
Yeah, go on.
Let's go real
let's
deep,
find
right?
some deep. Because I want to learn, bro.
If we're so fixated on pronunciation as well,
oh shit, yeah.
We're mispronouncing New Zealand.
Yeah,
it's New Zealand.
Oh, okay.
It's a Dutch word. There's a place called Zeeland over there.
Okay,
and that's where Abel came from. Even that name is not even. We're not even pronouncing his name right.
Do you think because he didn't want the smoke, we can call it New Zealand? Is that what it was? Nah, another joke landing.
I think once everyone I think a lot of Kiwis, right? If they just like understood that, they'd be like, oh, he came over here. Apparently, he didn't get off the boat either. That's how much smoke he did not want. So he sailed around.
I wouldn't want that smoke. Like,
he killed a couple of tangata whenua. Tangata whenua killed a couple of them. There was this massive waka that rode out to him, saying all this crazy shit in the middle of the night. You can't even see anything. You hear, paddling away, and he's like, holy fuck, bang, bang, get out away from me.
Yeah, Jesus.
Right?
The haka, can you imagine, like, in a legit situation?
Can you imagine, like, out in the middle of the water, and it's pitch black, and all you can hear is this paddling of these dudes coming out, man, and you've got no idea what they're saying.
And you only got one shot per musket.
I think they probably would have been tooled up because I think they would have been tooled. But I think they traded as well with like food because they were pretty malnutritioned. So lies. Let's talk about lies. Captain Cook.
Yeah.
Did you know that he when he went to Tahiti, he picked up this dude, and he's trying to find this place, and he goes, this dude called Tupai goes, yeah, well, I know that place, I know it really well. He goes, great, like we need to get there, and he goes, yeah, I can take you there, but he's going to use the stars to get him there. And Cook's like, what are you talking about, savage, right? And then, like, we've got all this, we've got all this like high tech stuff.
Yeah.
What the hell are you talking about? And he took Cook around to a couple of islands, and he named them all, and he even wrote a map out and just pinpointed where all these islands were. It was him who actually brought him down here. He brought Cook down to New Zealand. And Cook wanted to go this other way, and he said, no, don't go that way, because if you go that way, it's going to take longer, but come this way. And Cook was like, nah, fuck you, I'm going this way. And look it up, pretty sure it said that a lot of people got sick. It was real rough seas, and you know, almost screwed the whole mission up. But anyway, he got down here, and it was Tupai that came off the Endeavour and spoke to the tangata whenua of what's called now Gisborne. And he was the one who actually communicated with the tangata whenua here, with the locals down here. But that name Tupai, I only just found out about him a year ago.
Who wrote about him? You know what I mean? Like, I imagine some white guy
Cook
fucking
did.
Cook. Oh, he's like, yo, this guy.
Yeah. So if you go through like
that's
Cook's,
humble.
if you go through Cook's stuff, he's like names of lots and lots of people that he's kind of like come across and everything. So
it's kind of crazy if you think about it. Like, you think about racism then, let alone the 80s, and he's like, yo, y'all listen to you, let's go that way, and then writes about him. That's kind of crazy that he's mentioned.
It's not only crazy, but it's like Tupai's name isn't even in the psyche of the average New Zealander, right? Like, how many history lessons did you get at school talking about this great explorer called Tupai?
Yeah, no, never. First time I've heard of it.
There should be a statue of him here, and there should be a statue of him in England.
You should put him in front of Cook, pointing the way.
Yeah, like this.
Yeah, and then he's like, nah.
Like him, massive, and like Cook, a little boy. Like this.
Ooh, some sting coming out there. Well, I mean, it's
just
whitewash.
It's conveniently left out of a lot of kōrero. Just conveniently not there, you know? And like, once I started getting into, you know, learning more about the culture, all of these things just started kind of showing themselves.
You got to be careful in the same breath. Like, I don't dispute it. Humans tend to reconfirm what they already know. So, like, you've seen this, now you're like, shit, the whole thing's fucked. So then you think everything's like, but then, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think it makes sense. Like, even just with war, but if you think of that culture, so, you know, they would talk so negatively of, you know, Maori and derogatory, and like put them in this pedestal and wipe them from the history and make them seem like they're all perfect and whatnot. Like, even in modern times with warfare right now, it's like the private military industrial complex, you know, like how much that influences the narrative of what truly is true. It's like, why are we fighting? For what? Weapons of no destruction? So it makes sense. I'd be open to be like, oh yeah, no, that was completely whitewashed, not true. I don't have any sort of historical understanding. So how does someone educate themselves on the lies? Or how have you been doing it?
Good question. Getting involved in just as many Maori kaupapa as I can. Like, there's a lot of stories, there's a lot of waiata, there's a lot of songs, there's a lot of things. There's a really good podcast out there, Taringa podcast. Taringa. Yep, it's bilingual. It's actually mostly in English.
Help the white people listen to this spell that out.
Taringa, Taringa.
Yeah, just help. Like, if you're gonna educate us, you know, they might be here. You know,
had to really think about that one. Yeah, and even just looking at books, just like, you know, the library's full of like books about Tupai and stuff like that. It's just convenient. Again, it's conveniently left out of kind of like our curriculum and stuff. So,
why do you think it was left out? What would be? I mean, it kind of makes sense to me that it is like, you know, they're basically viewed as subhuman.
Why would you leave out something where one guy is going to travel I don't know, 3,000 kilometers on the sea using the stars. Like, why would you leave that out? Like, wouldn't you?
It's pretty cool.
Wouldn't you just go tell the world? Look at this guy.
Mm.
Him and his people traveled this vast amount of water using the stars and the birds.
That's crazy.
Kind of just sounds a bit fake, but
you reckon too hard to believe?
But he did it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that was my understanding. Is a lot of how they circumnavigated the globe was exactly what you said. Stars and birds. Is it from Southeast Asia then down the thing? Do you know like the history of Maori and how they ended up here?
A couple of theories. Is like Southeast Asia through Philippines, like through Taiwan, and then down through all the islands. Another theory would come from South America. I don't know, 30,000 years of human migration.
Were there Moriori's or is that bullshit?
No, they were definitely here. So that's another lie, right? That we ate them all. Right.
Okay, good. Yeah, let's talk about it.
That's a good one, right? Because,
ate them.
There's actually a Maori guy on TikTok. Who's educating people about, what happened.
Oh, there's he's a modern Moriori.
Moriori, yeah.
Moriori.
Yeah, so there's this theory about how there was a group of people here before we ate them all, apparently.
Sounds at the gate when you say it.
It does. So it was a fight between the Moriori and another tribe. Can't remember what the name of the tribe is. Who did enslave them. I don't know about eating them all, but the Moriori left and went to another island. As far as I know, or were they even at the other island? They got chased away. This tribe went over there, took them over, married them into their own whānau and everything.
Using your analogy before about renaming, does that mean the Maori are renaming the Moriori areas? Should we give that to them? Should we have 3 names?
I'm not quite sure.
Well,
Moriori were here first.
Oh, you don't know who was first
because I think we all come from the same place, right? So coming down here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But it's a very interesting question, right? Because even where we're sitting now would have been. There would have been other tribes that were here before, right? And there would have been battles between those tribes as well. Yeah. What
do you think there's a wrong that needs to be righted? One, obviously, history should be true as best they can. Is there the Treaty of Waitangi? You're bomb, give us this, that, don't leave that alone. Where are you sitting on that one? We're on the most divisive conversation I've had in a while, but I'm like, fuck it. Yeah.
Wrong to be righted. Yeah, I think we haven't had the best end of the stick. That's just facts.
Yeah.
Is there a writing of that? It'll take some time. I think we're doing the most of the work though. Like when you go around to any marae, if you go to Orake marae here, if you go see what other iwi that are just doing it for themselves, right? They've got their own schools, they've got their own little healthcare centers. They employ doctors, they employ medical nurses. They've got things that are specifically for that little area. So they're educating their own kids. They're bringing their kids up within the world of their hapu, of their sub-tribe. So we're doing a lot of things ourselves. We're delivering services, right? So we're getting contracts from the government to say we're going to deliver a social service like counselling service or something like that, right? So we're doing a lot of stuff. Yeah, wrong, rights. Can't really change history. It is what it is. I think what we'd like to do though is just to take away some of those lies. And educate our current children. Like we don't even have New Zealand history in schools, man. Like we learned about World War II in the 90s, right? We don't even have local history around local people at all of our regional schools. The history is quite vast.
Yeah, I mean. It's always a tricky thing. It's so there's historic misgivings and horrific things that have been done, and it's how can we work as individuals, knowing each other now, to collectively rise up together? Rising tide lifts all boats.
Yeah.
Whether there needs to be a penalty for the thing that happened in a prior life, I don't know. There's a lot of people that are upset. There's a lot of people from both sides being racist. But I know people say you can't be racist if you're not a marginalized group. Like white people. Like if you're racist to white people, then you're not racist. That's sort of like the thing at the moment.
No,
you don't agree with that?
That's a cop out. You can be racist. You can be racist to any group, and you're still a racist.
Well, I think every human's born to segregate themselves into groups. It just might be race. It might be height. It might be
good
popularity, good looks. Yeah. What about the good look disparity? How good looking people do better in life? You know what I mean? Well, who's talking about that?
I've seen some of those posts online, right? Like the American presidents are this height, or the ones that are in upper level management positions are usually between this height and this height, and it's quite true. I kind of look back and be like, yeah.
What's your advice to these short kings out there that feel invalidated? And
be you, man. Just be you. Just be yourself. Nah, look.
These chats have been random. Yeah.
I know it's been random, as.
Yeah.
But I'm enjoying it, man. Are you?
Yeah. I only looked at the thing because it's about to do that 30-minute thing again. Well, you pick a topic. What do you want to talk about?
Talk about your business, bro. I think you got a really good business.
You reckon?
Yeah.
You just said it was going to be redundant in a few months.
I think there's a window. I think there's a window for one-day videos.
Yeah.
Particularly the way you're doing them, because they're manual.
Yeah. I mean,
like, let's just say this, right? If I was to get you 10 clients tomorrow, could you take on 10 clients tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean,
without like working yourself into like 20-hour days and stuff.
No, I'll do that anyways. Yeah, I love work. Maybe not 20 hours. I need 8 hours sleep on that.
I love work.
The only thing, so essentially the whole benefit is 10 clips in 24 hours. So if we can handle the scale of one a day. I can hire pretty easily. I've already got, two people that would want to do work if they need to do work. You can scale up. The only bottleneck is like delivering on the speed the next day. But like,
what about the review process? What about, you do me 10 videos and I go, they're all shit. Do them again. What happens then?
I go cry myself to sleep.
Yeah, okay. So that's going to be a huge
I clutch it every time, 100%.
A huge bottleneck.
Yeah, now that would be so there are tools you can use and you can pick out certain time frames. The whole approach would be you speak to the person, you say, hey, look, there's going to be times where this isn't the most beautifully crafted. You might not look the best. You might have a little shame around that, but that's the content that's exactly going to do the best. So we're not here to create, you could go somewhere and create cinematic thing and pay thousands of dollars for this landscape video and 10 people watch it. Or we could focus on the idea and representing you as a human being. So in part, it will be setting the expectation when they start. And there can be a review process. That's not the end of the world. Making adjustments isn't hard.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyways.
Did you have a lot of support around you when you started this business?
Yeah. I mean, I have people that love me, which is cool. I can ask for money if I need to. Don't want to. Ran out of money last Thursday, so we're trying to piece this puzzle, bro.
Do you have like a network around you that are kind of like guys that are doing the same thing as you? Guys or women that are doing the same thing as you?
Yeah, good. Yeah, there are women that are successful, bro.
Or they.
Fuck. No, just kidding. or they. Yeah. We got 1% non-binary audience. I like to shout them out once in a while.
Shout out.
Do
you have a group of people around you that are kind of doing similar things, business owner, entrepreneur, content making?
I know a lot of business owners and a lot of successful business owners.
And content making as well?
A few, yeah. I don't really...
Okay.
Like, attention seekers, Stan Henry, he's doing pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
I was there when he was building, bro. 2 years ago, came on this podcast. Yeah, anyone that was doing anything worthwhile in the financial space that was making content, I've interviewed them. And that's what grew my audience and grew my book of business.
Now you got a Maori on here talking about...
I know other brown fellas, believe it or not, bro. Like,
who discovered New Zealand?
Yeah, but niche. It's so niche. Yeah. Well, I think it needs to be talked about. Most people don't have the courage. I don't give a fuck. If I get cancelled, I've got a phone. If you got cancelled, I feel bad because that's your, But you're not... The benefit of being a marginalised group is you're harder to cancel.
Really?
I believe so.
I don't go out there to be cancelled, but...
Yeah, well,
I suppose I don't say much controversial stuff to be cancelled.
Yeah, well, this is pretty... like, me even saying anything's controversial.
Really?
Relating to Maori. Yeah, like, fuck you, white guy, talking about us. Like, what do you know? And then blah, blah, blah. And even the white people jump on
I wish
that.
I could get that kind of... that notoriety. That...
I'll show you the way, bro.
Yeah?
Nah. You could definitely piss people off. Whether they would... Because at the moment... it's trendy to show that you care about Maori. It sounds a little fucked to say. Whether they genuinely care or not is a different thing. But that's at the moment. But then also the counter to that is that there's people that, thinking that Maori are getting a certain benefit over other people, and then, they're lashing out and blaming others for their own internal inadequacies. So you have both extremes. You definitely get hate, whether you get cancelled on the, social justice platforms. I don't think so. You get hate though, for sure. Do you want some more hate? We'll find the best clips, bro.
I had this one clip where I said, so we played the Raiders over there in Canberra, and they usually do this clap, this kind of like clap. And I said to one of the fans, I was like, what do you think about the game? Because we just smashed them. And I said to him something like, I didn't hear that stupid clap tonight. Where was that clap? And I went to the camera. I was like, where were your guys' claps? And there was a few hateful comments on that one, but not as many as I hoped.
Oh yeah, well, rack it up, bro. When the imposter syndrome goes, that's when your content will take off. The more you can lean into it.
I think it's gone.
Yeah.
No, sorry, it has gone. It's gone. Like,
is there anything you hold back? Like, you must be sitting at 80%, surely.
Oh, what do you mean?
Like, some people get fear of judgment, fear of talking about certain topics. You just don't give a fuck.
Yeah, like, I've kind of got to that age where I've got that kind of experience, that little bit of experience now, and they're like, that's just confidence for me now. So before I had to have a camera person there, but now I just set it up. I just set it up on the tripod, and I'm good to go. So the one that you edited, that was just the camera's just there, and I'm just there by myself.
Oh wow, that's funny.
There's no team.
And you're editing it too?
Yeah.
Well, you got to. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We don't have to, but
wow. I wanted to outsource that whole thing, but then something that Mr. Beast said very well, and it was just like, you got to edit your own stuff, otherwise how can you advise others on what you want eventually when you get to that stage? But he says in the beginning, just do everything yourself, be consistent. And I was just like, okay, Mr. Beast, who am I going to argue with him?
Yeah, I've consumed maybe 1,000 hours of his advice, and all it came down is click-through rate and average viewer retention, and keep their attention for the first 30 seconds. Other than that, there's not. But the best thing he taught me was around...
We're going to fail on that one today, by the way. They just the retention rate's going to be like...
It'll drop off as soon as, like, Maori mentioned, or spike up. It'd be either or. Because, people have strong opinions and strong emotions. That's what I don't get, is, like, people like to... I think an insult is an insecurity wrapped in blame. So anytime someone's hateful, anytime someone's projecting and have strong emotions, it's a story they're putting onto other people.
And you go deep, man.
Yeah.
You go deep, bro.
Yeah, what do you think?
Like
why do you think people are so cruel to each other? Why can't we have a conversation about you being Maori and being proud of it, and me wanting to learn more about how we've...
Or the other way around. You're like, why can't we have a conversation where you... I'm not saying that you do, but you don't like Maori, and for us to be...
Good, thank you. So I want to...
And for us to be okay with that,
yeah,
right? Instead of us being like, no, you have to be this way, or you have to think this way, or you have to believe in these things, right? So... Yeah,
we had a guy on the podcast that wasn't nice about Maori.
Oh, cool. And that's fine. That's who he is.
Well, I challenge it all. I think someone asked me what my most controversial opinion was, and it was that haters still hate no matter how justified the cause. Which, on the surface, it's like, that's not really controversial. But in reality, there's very few people that don't hate. And it might be they've done a horrific thing, like, I don't know, this person's a thief, a murderer, they deserve to rot in hell, and, they should be put on the death penalty, and they'll justify that because of the act of that individual. But in actual fact, what makes that hate of that said dark person that's done, not dark like in that sense, but like dark as in like they're evil, and they've done this horrific thing, what makes your horrific hate of them any different? What do you think? Is that a controversial opinion to say you shouldn't hate people?
Good question.
Who do you hate? What's your biggest
Who do I hate?
What do you get most angry at? Like, I get upset at victims, which is a bit fucked up because I play victim.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Why is that?
Like, poor me. Probably because I was rewarded for sharing those things and given affection and support, probably. Wow. So, like, mum would be quite emotionally avoidant, but she's very kind, but wouldn't show affection or love easily. So if I pack up a big fuss, then I'll get attention. But she also hates complainers too, so somewhere in the middle. That would be my guess. Like, I got rewarded for that behavior, or I've used that behavior to navigate a challenging moment.
So going back to your question, I think around that person that hates, let's just say anyone that hates a certain group of people.
Yeah,
that's just got to come from like upbringing.
Yeah,
things they were told.
Yeah,
or experiences that have happened to them, right? And
so what's your biggest thing? What upsets you when you see it? Or like people like
just in general, what upsets me in general?
Yeah, what's your fucking gets your gears going?
It just gets me really pissed off.
Safe space.
I get
I can't judge the people listening. I don't know what they'll do, but
let me think about that, bro. Do I get pissed off? Yeah, I get pissed off. Get pissed off when people don't make a decision really quickly.
Interesting.
It's just like, hey, got the proposal. What's going on? Are we doing this or not?
People pleasers too. I'll call you tomorrow, but never talk to you.
You said we were going to do this, but now we're not doing this. Do you think culturally we have a really hard time saying no?
Oh, 100%. I've sold all over the world, bro. They're fucking people pleasers, bro.
Why though? Why can't we just be like this? Ryan, I like you, but I'm not going to do any business with you today. How hard was that?
It's not that hard.
It's not that hard, eh?
No.
But what we end up doing is this. Send it over to me, Ryan. Looks good.
Block.
Block.
Yeah. Every salesman's been through it, eh? Like,
yeah.
I fucking, yeah. I just get decisions.
But it's more prevalent here.
Oh, yeah.
Massively.
I agree. I think it's small town vibes is what it is. There's consequences for the social repercussions of you being a dick. So if I talk to you, I'll know 50 people you know. And if I do something bad by you, that's their fear. I'm not saying it's justified, but I think that would be a bigger contributor why New Zealanders do that more than others. Like, it'd be the same in the islands.
You reckon?
Don't know. I've only been to Samoa when I was 5 and I don't remember much, but what do you think it is?
I was away for 10 years and I came back.
Aussie?
I was in Aussie for 2 years and I was away for 12 years. I was in Aussie for 2 years and in the UK for 10 years. And, did kind of sales and stuff all over the world as well. And it's, the cultures, it's very much black and white in some cultures. Other cultures might be a little bit more on the grey side. But here in New Zealand, it's very grey a lot of the times in terms of getting decisions out of people. Not just in business. Like, let's shout out to like our friends and family that say they're going to like turn up to something and they don't.
Yeah, I got a bit anal about that. Like, if someone was 5 minutes late, I'm like, all the best of life. Like, not even like if they've got established reputation and connection and I feel comfortable with them. But to me, if you're 1 minute late, you're late. If you're 1 minute early, you're early. You're on time, you're on time. It seems so crazy, and that would upset people. So I'm learning that, like, what I'd say, like, so I invite this person on a podcast. They're fucking, they've got 60 employees. They're doing well. They're doing me a favor in their eyes. And then they'll cancel, and I'll just be like,
yeah, the last minute cancellations.
Yeah, I'm like,
let's talk about those.
Last minute. I'm okay with them canceling. It's just our values are different. But I feel like it's cruel to do on the first go without them knowing what my values are. Like, it's a little entitled, people told me. So for me, it's just, I can't rely on people if they don't take responsibility for their actions and keep their agreements. Yeah. So that's what I need to feel safe in that connection with them. I understand emergencies happen.
Yeah, life happens.
But, But
at the same time, you can kind of feel like when it's like they didn't want to do it, they didn't want to turn up,
How do you get over that? So a lot of salespeople struggle with that.
Yeah, just carry on.
Carry on. I feel like you're carrying it on. You got the tension in your shoulders, bro. Do you
like
send them death threats? Or?
No, absolutely not. There's nothing you can do. It's just like, okay, well.
What about selling to them so it's a safer space to say no?
What do you mean?
So, same reason people lie to you is the fear of consequence. So if you can create a space where your objective isn't to sell to them, it's to make them make a decision, which could be not to buy from you, and then also show them that saying no is okay. By saying, hey, look, I'd rather you say no. It seems like there's something holding you back. you don't have to buy from me. What's going on? I'm working with you. And then I don't want to call them again. Fuck them. You know what I mean? Like, but that's bad. You should have follow-up in sales. That's a problem. But like, how would you approach in that way? How would you create a space where people can tell you things without there being consequence?
I just think it's a cultural thing here, man. I think a lot of us are just a bit fearful to speak our minds.
Are you assigning characteristics to a group, bro? After everything we spoke to at the start? I feel like that's a bit victimy. You're right. Just give up. No one will ever buy from you.
Blame the market.
It's the market, bro. It's recession. I don't know what that word was.
No, I don't want to assign it to a group, but
cancels out everything before it. Just FYI.
Culturally, I think I do think in a lot.
Can
of
it be
ways,
harder?
Harder for what?
To get people not to say, like, help them say no. Can it be harder here, but not like everyone? You got no chance.
I just think it's a culture thing. We just say yes to a lot of things. We say yes, but we don't mean it. Yeah, I'll be there, or cool. We'll come to the party or something.
Can you be the oracle of truth? Can you be the man that changes the culture with your media company? Why not?
Absolutely not.
Why the fuck not?
Absolutely, that's a massive thing to change. Like, you go to some countries, it's just like black and white. Yeah, you're ugly. I hate you.
Russia, you'll get along there, bro.
Yeah, well, maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just be destroyed.
Yeah, maybe you need a little bit.
Like, no. Here we go. Warriors fan TV's crap.
I've been meaning to tell you something, though.
Loving the chat. I did have another thing. Another thing.
We're at it's 2:00. I don't know what your time constraints are.
If you need to go, bro, let me know.
I'm right. I got, let's say, 15.
15. I feel like here something completely different.
Okay, go on.
I feel like here there's not a lot of us, and maybe I need to hang out with some other people. In a lot of my friend groups, there's not a lot of us that are doing things like this, right? And I don't want to use the word hustling, don't want to use the word grinding, but doing cool stuff. Like, there's not a lot of us in my friend groups that are doing a lot of content.
I'm being a little bitch, you know what I mean?
Huh?
What?
What's that?
No, I just said, don't worry, carry on.
Oh, they're all being little bitch.
Yeah. Well, they live their whole life out of fear of consequence and then never have a life worth living.
Because, like, in 2023, we're like, if you're 21 right now, I'm really jealous of you. I'm jealous of all the 21-year-olds and 22-year-olds right now. The stuff that's available to you to do things like this and to get your name out there, and the time you have in the day to get your name out there and do all this sort of stuff, I'd kill for that time, right? So I am some ways jealous, but I'm also fully aware that the platforms, that there can be a lot of time wasting because of all the platforms that we have right now, right? So you could spend hours and hours on TikTok and not do anything with your day, for instance. But look, and maybe I need to find some new friend groups. Ones that are doing cool shit like this. Yeah,
like, fuck. And then, because so let's say you're putting yourself out there, you're fearful, you're facing the truth, you look in the mirror knowing you're exposed and vulnerable and you're going to pursue what you want in life, and then someone comes in, what are you doing, bro? That's fucking shit. Like, damn, man, why are you doing that? Like, blah, blah. It will shatter you. It's such a fragile thing. And if you've got a network of people that it's beyond their realm of capacity, even if they love you, they're pulling you down because they need to maintain their identity, and you're conflicting that. It's like when I quit alcohol like 8 years ago.
Well done.
There's I'm going on a bit of a rant here. Have you ever heard of a word called homeostasis?
Nope.
Homeostasis is basically like in a chemistry, it's basically if there's a change in equilibrium, it tries to go back to the equilibrium. So if you change, they either got to pull you or come with you. So guess who's getting all the shit?
Yep.
Fucking you.
Yeah.
So how do you navigate that? So you're putting yourself out there. You already think you're a piece of shit because you're just starting it and no one's stopping. What do you give advice to people that want to make content but their family judge them?
I get messages like that all the time.
Yeah?
Yeah. I get messages from people saying things like that. You know, I don't want to do this because of, what's it called? Tall poppy syndrome. Family members shitting on them.
Yeah.
There's actually one TikTok that I made about that as well. Advice, shit, man. I've always been a I don't give a fuck type of person. Now that's been good and bad. Yeah. I've gone into things and it's failed, and I've been like, I should have maybe taken some time to think more about it.
Yeah, I've been there.
But like the whole how I explained how I was in front of the camera and 26th of March and that's just kind of me. It's like, advice for them? That's tough, man. Like, I'm not going to say that you have to be an outgoing person in order to do this, because I know there's people out there got a lot of insecurities, a lot of anxiety that also do this as well. Chase your dreams. No, I don't know, man. I don't know. I've got no advice for anybody really. It's not as bad for those that are thinking it's like this massive mountain to climb. It's not. It's not. You got to start somewhere as well.
It's not even like, so just FYI, I don't do this out of joy, which is a bit unusual. I just think I want to achieve my goal.
Yeah.
This is the best way to achieve my goal. I like people not knowing who the fuck I am, just walking through looking like a hobo and like I don't exist. I don't even care if anyone comes to my funeral. Just fucking make it cheap, fucking chuck in the bottom. You know what I mean? Like, I don't, but I know if I want to give every person the opportunity to live a fulfilling life, I've got to suck it up and put it out there, and how to do it in the most effective and cost-effective way where I reach a lot of people. So, documenting your journey is an easy way to do that. So my advice for people that are fearful of it, they have nothing to lose in the sense they don't actually have a life right now. And I don't mean that too cruelly, but most people medicate their lives over the weekend with alcohol. They live in denial about what they truly want to do just because of that first initial moment. There's never anything harder than that first rejection you got trying to fucking start the camera and hoping the guy didn't come here. You started making the story being like, oh yeah, if he doesn't come here, it's whatever, like blah, blah. But like if you look at your soul, you're like, fucking what? That part is the hard part. Actually executing on it and failing isn't that bad. It's like Epictetus, as a philosophy, says, man doesn't suffer by a crisis, but by his interpretation of it. Very few things in my life have been so painful that I can't forgive it and move on. It's me that makes it awful. But anyway, so I just...
man, you get deep, man. The funny thing I've noticed in this last hour is that when you get in these kind of like, and you're clearly focused in this world, your whole demeanor changes.
Yeah.
Like your eyes change. The eyes change when you like... when you bring up a quote from someone or when you start educating me, it's just like, okay, that I feel like is where your sweet spot is.
Interesting.
Or where you feel the most comfortable. That's the feeling I'm getting, that you're comfortable in that space.
Yeah, like essentially my theory is that the most fulfilling thing you can do is to help a version of yourself in the world. And the reason I look so engaged is because I find...
You did it again?
Yeah, I'm off. My eyes are alive, bro. But like, I feel really alive when I'm talking about either my emotions or someone else's in a way that can help alleviate their suffering. So the reason I look so engaged is because I'm helping myself right now. And I think if your purpose is aligned with that in some way, where you're solving the pain you've seen or the pain you've experienced, then you look like you're on coke, you know what I mean, without doing it. So anyways, we're done now 15. What's your inspiring message, or how can, I don't know, whatever the fuck you want.
Inspiring message.
Or uninspiring.
Look, a 42-year-old goes to a Warriors game with a camera and a microphone and interviews people. And then we got 500,000 views on TikTok. I don't even know what it is.
Yeah, you watch that.
You know what I mean?
3 months too.
100 and something thousand views on YouTube. But the point I'm getting at is that you don't need anything. You need a bit of courage. Okay, that's going to help.
Bit of imposter syndrome sprinkled on.
A bit of imposter syndrome sprinkled on. But if a 42-year-old can get in front of a camera, right? For 21-year-olds like watching this, thinking that a 42-year-old's got it all sorted out. He's got all the connections. He's got all the money. He's got all the... it's bullshit. I don't have anything. I don't have a lot of those things. Just go and do it. Like, the world needs, I reckon, a lot more of this. A lot more of this. People that I don't even know who you are.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I do now, though.
Yeah.
We need more of this dialogue.
Yeah.
And whether your passion is freaking sewing or making wood furniture, it doesn't matter what it is. We've got the tools now. You just need a little bit of courage to do it. So start that podcast. Start whatever, Get on bloody TikTok. I'm trying to get so many people on TikTok. It's like pulling teeth.
Yeah.
It's like pulling teeth. I know so many people that have got so much experience and they're so knowledgeable. I'm just like, you are keeping all of that stuff from the world. They're like, yeah, I know, but it's not really me. TikTok's not me. And I get it, you know. Pulling out the phone and speaking to a phone. Even me just doing this, right? There's a lot of stuff involved in that for that to happen.
Crazy, yeah.
And then for you to push publish.
Yeah, and no one watch it, and then keep going.
Right? But look, I think there's so many people out there that are depriving us from their knowledge, depriving us from their experience. And if we just get the phone out and talk to it and just baby step it, then, you know, we'll all be good for it.
Yeah, I think I agree. There's someone doing a disservice by not sharing their message because they're the only person that might be able to save the person on the other side because they speak their language. Right. So thank you for coming on.
Thank you very much, man.